everyone, Danielle Pleasant with Johnson County 4-H, and I'm excited to share this month's baking class recipe and video with you guys. So we normally do something pumpkin flavored in November. That's usually our kids' choice. So this month we're going to share a really yummy recipe with you guys from allrecipes.com. So today we're going to be making pumpkin butterscotch muffins. Now, I'm not a big fan of pumpkin, but I do like these muffins. They are delicious, and the butterscotch just adds a little extra sweetness. So even if you're not a pumpkin fan, you may really enjoy these. So as always, before we start cooking, it's really important that if we have long hair that we pull our hair back so we don't get any extra hair in the food, and that we go ahead and wash our hands. So wash them in warm soapy water. Make sure that they stay nice and clean by using a clean paper towel or clean rag to dry your hands on. You don't want to get them germy just after you wash them. So the ingredients that we're going to need for today are 1 3/4 cup all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar, 1/2 cup of regular sugar, 1 teaspoon ground cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/2 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of melted butter, 1 cup of canned pumpkin, and 1 package of butterscotch chips. For our equipment, we're going to need 2 large mixing bowls, a set of measuring spoons, a set of measuring cups. Of course, those will be for the measurements that were on the ingredient list. We're also going to need a sifter. So there's a couple of different styles of sifters. The one pictured here has the squeeze handle. Later you'll see a sieve style sifter that I used. If you don't have a sifter, that's okay. You can always use a whisk to whisk your dry ingredients. You are also going to need a whisk for this recipe though, so make sure you have one of those. You need a spatula or a mixing spoon, and you need a muffin or mini muffin pan. And whichever size of muffin pan is going to determine how long you bake your muffins for. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and preheat your oven. Spray the muffin pan with nonstick cooking spray or line it with paper liners. Either way is fine. Just make sure if you spray with the cooking spray that you get the sides and the bottoms evenly coated so your muffins will pop out a little easier. The next thing we're going to do is sift together the flour, brown sugar, white sugar, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, baking soda, baking powder, and salt into a large bowl. So this is a sieve style sifter where you just dump it in and then you just kind of shake it back and forth and the ingredients fall through the mesh of the sieve to sift your ingredients out. What sifting does, regardless of what style sifter you use, is sifting the ingredients helps to break up any clumps that have formed. So as these ingredients are shipped or packed, sit on the store shelves, or they're just stored in our cupboards, the ingredients or the mixture will settle over time. And so once it settles, sometimes clumps form. So if we sift those, it separates that ingredient back out. So it separates it out. And as you can see that the flour that's in the top of this sieve sifter has clumps in it, but if you look down in the bowl, you're going to see finer particles, and that's where that's been separated out. So sifting separates your ingredients or your mixture out, but it also makes those ingredients easier to mix together with other ingredients. So we are using a couple of different spices for this recipe, and it's really great that we can sift those out to make those spices blend more thoroughly in our mixture. So after we're done with sifting, we're going to take our second large bowl and we're going to whisk together the eggs, butter, and pumpkin in a separate bowl. So as we're whisking, you'll want to use kind of this motion, and whisking helps to aerate the mixture by whipping air into it. So whisk the dry ingredients can also help break up any clumps. So you can use that same style motion on dry ingredients, but we want to definitely make sure that we're whisking our eggs, butter, and pumpkin so that we can blend everything together. And once everything is blended together, we're going to mix the flour mixture with the egg mixture or with the egg and pumpkin mixture. So dump it in there And then you're going to take your, trade out your whisk for a spatula or a mixing spoon, and you're just going to use a stirring motion just to stir all those ingredients up. And you're going to notice that as we stir this, you're going to see a little bit of that dry mixture, and you just want to make sure that, as it's pictured here, that it is all mixed together very evenly. You don't want any dry spots or dry ingredients showing in that mixture. So make sure it's all mixed together really good before we move to the next step. So after your ingredients are all mixed together really well, then you can stir in the butterscotch chips. So just stir those in using that same kind of mixing, stirring motion, and your butterscotch chips, that just kind of mixes them throughout all of the batter. Now it's time to pour that batter into your muffin pan. So you want to pour that so your muffins pan is your muffin cups are about 3/4 full. You don't want them all the way full because your muffins are going to rise as you bake them. So you don't want them to rise over the top and bake out and make a mess in your oven. So about 3/4 the way full. And as you spoon the batter in, try to get about the same amount of batter in each of the cups so that each of them are filled evenly. And this makes sure that when you're baking them, that all of your muffins are going to be about the same size, but also that they're going to bake evenly. Because if you have one cup that's really, really full and one that doesn't have a whole lot in it, the cup that's really full is not going to bake all the way through, and the cup that doesn't hardly have any in it might overbake or burn before the rest of the muffins are finished baking. So now it's time we have a batter in our muffin pan. We're going to go ahead and bake these. We're going to bake these in a preheated oven until a toothpick inserted in the center of a muffin comes out clean. And on this, you can see that I tested this in the center of our muffins. So you always want to test it in the center. If the toothpick, when removed, has batter on it, it means that they're not done yet. They're not fully cooked and they need to cook a little bit longer. If the toothpick comes out clean, it means that that batter is all cooked up and now your whatever you're baking is ready and it's fully cooked. So if you're making a cake or a brownie, make sure that you check in the thickest part of the dish, or so like the center of it. That way it makes sure that everything's fully cooked, because the outer edges are gonna bake to done a little quicker than the center of it is. So when we bake these, our mini muffins are going to take about 10 to 12 minutes to fully bake, and then regular size muffins are going to take about 14 to 16 minutes to bake. So you're going to want to check those to make sure they're done before you pull those out of the oven. So I really hope that you try these muffins, that you enjoy this recipe. They are really tasty. You can always make sure that you check us out online. You can find us online at johnson.tennessee.edu, or you can check out our 4-H website. And then also make sure that you follow and like us on Facebook and Instagram. So on Facebook, we do add a lot of our videos, our project group information, a lot of upcoming activities and events through 4-H. And of course, we also like to share our baking class videos and things through there. So make sure that you like us online, and then I will post the link to our 4-H website and the link to the recipe with this video. So make sure that that you like us on Facebook, and then also tell us how you enjoyed your muffins. If you tried it and you really liked it, let us know. We'd love to hear from you guys.